I used to spend 3 hours every Sunday meal prepping. And now, as a busy mom, I don't have the time to be spending doing that anymore. In the past, when I made seitan, it had you boil it in a pot or steam it, and I didn't care for the consistency. So today I'm going to attempt John Thomas, aka the bodybuilding vegan, his homemade seitan recipe. And if I can pull this off, it will significantly reduce my meal prep time. And I really hope it turns out, because either way, I'll be eating it for 2 meals a day for an entire week. I'm going to walk you through this recipe, as it will save you time and money, and you don't have to buy that store-bought stuff ever again.
First things first, I like to start with a Vital Wheat gluten. You can find this at regular stores, but I usually like to buy it in the bulk section at my co-op. It's nice because I can save that in the packaging, no plastic. And I do the same thing with the nutritional yeast. I just bring my own containers and I fill it up there. The nutritional yeast gives it a nice little cheesy kind of flavor, and it has that added B12. Add a little bit of pepper for some spices. You can add whatever you like, but I'm preferring to stick with the pepper right now with some salt. I usually like to do the pink Himalayan. That's been one of my favorites. But you can add additional seasonings like dill or parsley or anything to that extent to just give a little extra flavor. Here we're going to stir it all in before we add any of the liquids. I want to make sure all my dry goods are really nice and mixed thoroughly. That way there's no clusters of any flavors in there. And especially with the salt and the pepper, I want to make sure everything's nice and stirred. Then we're adding in some liquid smoke. That's just a preference for me. You can leave it out. And I also like to get the liquid aminos at the co-op, so I bring my jar there as well and fill it up. I decided to add that. Sometimes you can add some vegan whoosh sauce, or you could really just add pretty much anything in terms of seasonings or any kind of liquids to add some flavor to this. Think about it just kind of like flour, where flour alone isn't going to taste very good with some water unless you add extra things to it. So when you're putting this all together, just keep that in mind. At this point, we're ready for adding some water. I found that 2 cups was a good amount for the Vital Wheat gluten and the mixture of nutritional yeast. So I start by adding just in a little bit and then stirring my hand in there to just kind of mix it to the bottom. And then playing it around and kind of massaging it a little bit. It's got this squishy kind of texture, kind of feeling to it. And then I want to slowly keep adding more and more water as we're going and just kind of repeating this. It's going to start to kind of congeal a little bit and start to absorb. So we want to make sure that we're getting all of this and giving it a pull and just really thoroughly getting in there and making sure everything's nice and mixed around. Once I've kind of worked it in, it's starting to get a little bit on the tougher side. So I'm starting to pull it around, making sure I've got all the flour mixed in there and giving it a nice little twist and making sure everything's thoroughly worked through, which it's not too hard. It's still pliable, but you just want to make sure everything it's not soggy, because I found that with some other times when I boiled it in the past, it just came out this really gross, wet thing. But with this recipe, with the liquid to water ratio, it's a nice combination. And also with this recipe, I found that my hands aren't getting too tired, because I am working out in the gym, so my hands often have to deal with all the grip strength, and they can wear me out. So this one actually doesn't hurt my hands doing this recipe. At this point, I am happy with how it's turning out, so I am just going to press it into my pan. I didn't grease it or anything like that because I'm in a calorie deficit for my training, and so I am just putting it as is into the pan, and we're going to see how it turns out. I want it to be kind of squared out, which when I'm pulling and pushing it down, it's starting to lose its shape a little bit, so it's fighting me a little bit. My first time making it, so maybe that's not how it's supposed to be, but I will have to play with that as I continue to make it. And this is how it's turning out. I was able to make it into somewhat of a square shape. From here, we're going to set the oven to 420, and I'm going to do it for about 15 minutes for one side. Okay, we're going to set it in the oven, and after 15 minutes, we will take it back out and flip it over. One side is going to be nice and crispy. It's going to be a little bit brown. You can keep it to whatever you prefer. I like it a little bit chewier. And so this is how it came out. I love the color. It doesn't look gray like that store-bought brand stuff, and so I'm curious how this is going to taste. Now for me, because I'm in a calorie deficit, I have to weigh all my food, so I'm putting it on the scale, and I'm zeroing it out, and I'm double checking to see how much this thing weighs. If you'd like a free meal plan, or if you're just curious to see what I eat in a typical day, you can click on the link in the freebie below. This has turned out really nice in the consistency. I like how things are coming out. It doesn't take too much effort to try and cut into, so I'm curious how this is going to taste, but it looks really good.
All right, moment of truth. It's cooled down a little bit, and I really hope it tastes good. I added a little too much salt on top of the liquid aminos, but that is still really good. It'll pair well with some veggies. I like this. This is... Yay! I highly recommend this recipe. It is absolutely delicious, and I am not going back to buying those expensive packages of seitan anymore. That's a deal breaker. I'll probably even find a way to bring this on vacations or when I travel. This is a solid recipe. Thank you, John. This is awesome. Well, I guess we're good to go for lunch and dinner for the next week.
Seitan. I eat.
Is the seitan yummy? Or how's it taste?
It's yummy. Good. Mine.